we recognize the importance of teachers. In fact, we can even say that everyone has a teacher. If everyone has parents, I think everyone has also teachers. And that is why it is important that we also celebrate Teachers' Day. One of the things that I realize when you are in the craft of teaching or the vocation of teaching is that very often the demands of the work are so much. You know, it takes so much of your time, your energy, your whole person. But the rewards are not immediate. In other words, you don't see really what you are building on in the students. In fact, sometimes, you know, you might even find some students who may not be perhaps ungrateful, you know, but they do not express their gratitude or their appreciation for what you have done. And, you know, since growth is a long process, you don't see immediately the impact of your work. It is only later on. That is why you keep on working and working, and you need to be re-energized. And this is where I think prayer helps a lot. You know, if the teachers, for instance, before they start their class or they even start their day, they have this prayer and they pray and ask God to help them. I think, you know, they will even be more motivated and inspired to do their vocation of teaching, no matter how demanding it is. I think the business of educational institutions is not only to make their students competent or to give a very high quality of education to their students in order to prepare them for professional work. I think the business of schools is really to impart values. You know, we are not talking here only of competencies, but value formation. Now, one of the best ways to really impart values is not really even to talk about values, but to live the values yourself. You know, as they say, values are not taught, they are caught. You know, and people catch them, students catch them when they see their teachers modeling them. You don't even need to talk about these values. The students will remember them. As very often, you know, my experience in dealing with our alumni, whenever I visit them, whenever I talk to them, you know, what they remember most about their teachers are not really you know, the classes that they did. You know, they remember more or less, well, the subject that he taught us was something like that. But if you ask them, you know, what they remember most was how a particular teacher modeled a particular value that they appreciate. You know, like this teacher was a very good model of a researcher. This teacher was always excellent. This teacher, you know, was a person of integrity. This teacher is somebody that you cannot buy. Okay, this teacher never went to class without preparing himself. You know, this teacher will not waste your time. So those are values, you know, whenever they talk about that. And how did they learn those values? It is because they have seen the teachers doing that. They live them. So if you are talking here about Catholic education and Catholic values, the best way is really by seeing them live those particular values. And that is why it's important that teachers are really exemplars of virtues, of values, that they are role models. That is why it's even more demanding, especially for Catholic schools. That is why I think part of what we administrators also must do is to select the teachers well, you know, to select them because, you know, the values that you want to remain with your students, the values that will inspire them should be in the person of teachers. Otherwise, there will be an incongruence, and the students themselves, will not be able to live those values because they don't see them in the administrators and in the faculty members. So it's also a challenge for us, not only for teachers,